Transformer TCG fans. And the plane goes overhead right as I hit record. All right. Welcome back. It's Grillenheimer. So we're going to go. I want to reveal two more characters in my legacy kind of characters file here. And I was just listening to Dan Arnold's reveal for his plot actions. Apparently they've been on the back burner for a while, and then one of the two plot actions, I'll show it here, is why their group for their tournament levels have banned Brainstorm based on all the 6, 7, 8 waves of cards that they've done, etc., etc. And I'm like, wow, what more cards can you ban? And they even, I remember I don't think they ever really abandoned officially for their tournaments, but Bashing Shield, and they were just basically, I remember hearing the debate that it was a little too strong because it has a green pip. If it didn't have that green pip, they would like it a little better, so it wouldn't be so accessible. But that's been a while, but I remember that. And then he revealed a new Perceptor. Oh, there's my Perceptor, the legacy one, I think. No, Studio 86 at Perceptor. Yeah, he's over there, but on the windowsill. But and I thought, wait a minute, I've been thinking about doing something very similar. And so I went back to my legacy characters that I'm still working on. I don't have many left here. I'm going to add Clamp Down. I've got his images. I'm going to throw him in here also. And it's like legacy and. Not exactly easy to say. Maybe I should have titled this differently. But it's based on the current figure, current figure line. And did we go over Overrod? We're not looking at him today. And so I thought, well, I need to do something with one of my characters, which in cooperation with my base cards, because everything I do is a little more organic and not quite as organized as they are. I'll admit that. Okay, I'll admit that. And I've been trying to look through a lot of the stuff that I have created, and tightening text here and there, whatnot. And when I do, I try to show it here for y'all. If anyone's follows and tries to incorporate any of my stuff in casual gaming, and that's fine. So what we're going to look at here are two characters, and the first one is Autobot Nightprowler. A little grainy because, well, it's what Hasbro is doing, probably to help copyright their images, whatnot. It is flipped. I didn't take any of the background out. It's like, here's the image. It looks pretty good. Kind of looks like Cheetor, except instead of a cheetah, he's like more of not a panther, but a snow tiger, I guess, from what I understand. And he's a covert demon general. And I was looking into these characters who I've never really heard of. I'm thinking, I used to really like collecting all these type of Cheetor figures and all the repaints. My cousin got the imported Ravage. I think he got the Takara Ravage, and I don't remember what all I have. It's not as many, but you shouldn't covet. But I got some stuff. But Covert Demon General. So I had to came up with this based looking up on his Wikipedia and TF Wiki kind of items here, and I noticed I wrote Autobot Nightprowler, and I had to look it up again. I'm like, Autobot? And yeah, this is right. He is an Autobot. He's not a Maximal or Predacon or anything. And so he's made him a general, Covert Demon General, Autobot, Beast, and Specialist in alt mode. In alt mode, he is a 7-star character, 3, 10, and 2 in alt mode. This has stealth when untapped. That just goes without saying, looking at the character in general. And oh, the image of the tail kind of got. I should have pushed it over a little more. I don't know if I have that image anymore. I don't know if I have it anymore. But when this attacks and you flip, do I need to reword this? When you flip, less black pips than your opponent. Or should we say, when your opponent flips more black pips than you, but you're attacking them. If you flip less black pips than your opponent for battle, and maybe I need to add for battle here, this gets +1 to attack until in the battle. So you're attacking, they're defending. If you, the amount of black pips, and I may have to reword this a little bit, but if as long as you flip less black than than the defender, his base is going to go up to 4 for the most part. That's what we were going. That's what I was going for there. If you don't flip any black and they do, or they don't, you don't flip black, they don't flip black, this doesn't happen. If you flip 3 blacks, black pips, they flip 3 black pips, it doesn't happen. It doesn't trigger. You flip more than your opponent, it doesn't trigger. So there's that. Just a 7-star. We started with a 7-star. The other one's going to be an 8-star. In bot mode, our Covert Demon General is now melee. So that's unusual, going from specialist to melee. Again, this has stealth when untapped. 4, 10, and 1 are his stats in bot mode when this defends, and you flip more black pips for battle than your opponent. Do 1 damage to the attacker after battle. Yeah, we have a lot of different cards that has this effect. Some secret actions, maybe at least one official, some that other people have done, and some that secret actions that I've done that are aggressive on the defensive side. Of course, that's most of the time when secret actions are triggered. I've made 1 or 2 where they can trigger if you're attacking and something happens. I want to say I think we have 1 official one that does that. I can't remember the name of it right off. So there's that. Autobot Nightprowler. So you're going to get, depending on how many black pips are flipped between you and your opponent, you need to take note of that. And you can get either 1 more attack or an extra damage to your attacker when he's defending in bot mode. And yeah, that's all up to chance. All up to chance based on how your deck is built. Now, the other character we're looking to look at is Sandstorm. Sandstorm is the character I was trying to sort of mention at the beginning here. I didn't have all his traits in here. He's a 9-star. Did I say 8? I meant 9. And I don't know why it just won't go all the way down like it used to. Even if I move the window up, the bottom, the furthest one down I can see is Titan Master. I can't see Truck or anything else down there, or even Weaponizer. So let's make him in alt mode. He's going to have the Beast trait, and let's give him the melee trait. Oh, how funny. And let's just make him melee in both modes. My original Scorponok is also a 9-star character that's melee in alt mode, ranged in bot mode, but this character is just going to be melee in both sides. I thought about making him, adding a different an extra trait on here for this Sandstorm, because he is a Predacon, if I'm correct on looking some of this up. He's a Covenant, Rebel, and Strategist. And this is the character that is going to interfere with base cards. So if you don't want to play base cards, now we have a character that's going to do something about that to some extent. In alt mode, he has Pierce 1, just like my regular Beast War Scorponok, who I originally did have at Pierce 2, and I brought it down. But so it's just Pierce 1 for both of these characters. When you flip to this mode, you may scrap your opponent's active base card. So we have something else other than just warp travel is one of the action cards that I made, and I have something else, the upgrade that you can put on. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, warp travel is the action card that can scrap a base card. Bridge control is a utility you can put on specialist to KO a base card, which I almost made Sandstorm a specialist, and I knew there was something in the back of my mind about this card, and so that's why he's melee. So you can't use bridge control on Sandstorm because he's already going to be doing something to that effect. Bridge return door. Well, your opponent has an active space bridge on the equipped, and the equipped character defends. It has tough 3 for battle. Then scrap this card. I don't know if we've gone over bridge return door or not, but that's a way you can get extra tough based if and it just says active space bridge. So no, it does say your opponent. So it has to be your opponent's space bridge. If you're not using base cards, bridge return door is for you. Add it as a defensive flip, defensive properties. It's a utility that doesn't going to give anything except tough 3 as long as your opponent has a base card in play. So being able to get something from their base card on top of if it might even benefit you in the first place, but then it will have to be scrapped. Interruption. One of your characters defends, scrap your opponent's base card. Secret action. Let's see here. The plasma energy chamber. And while interruption is a white pip, plasma energy chamber is blank. When a base card is played for turn, they have to scrap it. So, plasma energy chamber gets triggered when they play it. As opposed to, interruption. Once they attack you and they start defending, then interruption is going to scrap their base card before you flip for battle. Of course, hold the bridge. When one of your opponent's cards scraps your active base card, the base card is not scrapped. So there's a lot of neat things, and these all seem to go right into play with one another for the domino effect of triggers for scrapping and prevention. And then hidden space bridge is the sort of the action defensive type of a blue deck of being able to leech off of your opponent's base cards. While bridge return door may give one of your characters tough 3, hidden space bridge it's like a target lock. Blue pip as well, just no special trait to be able to give a character bold 4 as long as you don't have any base cards in your deck. So things like that. Now space bridge control is one that I made first. We haven't looked at that, and because I'm talking about untapping base cards, I'm like, I forgot about that. So we may have to revisit that, and maybe which sort of turns my base cards more into zone card-ish territory, which is fine, and maybe we should do that. But let's get back into Sandstorm. So when you flip to his alt mode, you can scrap your opponent's active base card if they have one in play. If they don't, it does nothing. In his bot mode, flip him over. He's 4, 12, and 1 now. His attack goes up. His defense comes down. When your opponent plays a base card, do 1 damage to an enemy character. So all he has to be is in bot mode. They play a base card for turn. They're going to have you can damage. You can choose which character to damage because Sandstorm is in bot mode. The Covenant Rebel Strategist. Maybe he's rebelling against the base cards. I don't know. But it seems very appropriate. But I kind of like that. And I've got a stratagem for him too, Rebellious Cause. 1-star stratagem, which is going to increase his attack and his health by 1. So it's not a whole lot. But when you flip Sandstorm to bot mode, you may take a base card from your scrap and put it in your hand. So there is that. Because I have been playing around with some of my base cards. Funny thing is that some of what I've been doing is that I'll take 1 base card and put it in a deck, so I'm not having to use a space bridge. And the one I was using for my Autobots helps the Autobots, but it has a Decepticon on the green, so I was never able to get it on the flip. But I really wanted it for my Autobots. I was able to use it once or twice in the test that I did. And I'm thinking, boy, that would be nice if I had a way to be able to get my base card out of my scrap. And so this, of course, this is with a certain character, with a certain stratagem. I may have to do something different. That's actually, let's do that with Space Bridge Control. Yeah. So I'm not worried about tapping and untapping base cards. To not be similar to anyone else's cards or their gimmicks or their procedures. Once it's in play until another base card is played. That is still going to be consistent. I've got to have some consistency, and I'm trying to keep that. So while my base cards do act like somewhere between a rolling action and a zone card to some extent, they're neither one. To me, I think they're simpler. I like that they can go into a deck. I like there's the possibility of being able to get them on the swap with each battle, to where it's really a fight control over the area or location or the base. So because there are lots of bases and locations that are either battle oriented or place oriented from all over the IP. I've been really trying to be more of a dad lately, even though they may not think it. Well, I'm not belittling myself at all. Just sort of taking light of the situation going on currently. If you saw my 1-minute video that I just released, what is today? Wednesday, earlier today, or earlier this Wednesday. There's some things going on, and but I'm not gonna mention. I'm just gonna keep it personal. But there's that. But I think this is neat. I like this idea of Sandstorm being able to whip out or whip up a base card with his stratagem in play, which is going to make him a 10-star character? Yeah, a 10-star character with 13 health and up his attack from 4 in alt mode and 5 in bot mode. He's going to be able to scrap base cards or attack one of the enemies by 1 when your opponent plays a base card. So, because after seeing some of this in play and doing some tests, this seems pertinent, and I really need to make more decks utilizing some more of these cards to really see a lot of this stuff in action, to be able to get the flow of the game with these cards in play, which isn't bad. I like it. It's again a lot. It's some of the rewards are not immediate. Unfortunately, I will admit that. But they're interesting. They're neat. A lot. Some are better than others, so I understand that. That's why there are a ton of them. You might want them for the pip colors. You may not play the base card as a base card. You may just like, oh, well, I like this because it's green and orange or green and black, or I can pad this in with this X kind of deck. If I want to play it, I can play it. Or knock out another base card just to have it in there. Though this one doesn't do much, I'll just throw this one in here for X amount of reason. And you only have to have one or two to not be able to give up a star for the space bridge. Space bridge means you can have three. They can be three of the same base card, etc., etc. We've gone over this a lot. I apologize. So with that, that's really all I have time to go through. I didn't mean to go over 20 minutes over Sandstorm and Autobot Nightprowler and some more of these cards. And if I don't think I've gone over all of these, and I think I went over a few that I hadn't gone over before. Going over warp travel and interruption and the plasma energy chamber. I'm looking at them right. Hidden space bridge, bridge control, bridge return door, etc. And I'm probably missing one or two that I'm looking at right here. This seems fun. This just seems fun. Again, casual play. Dan Arnold would not want this stuff in his game. And I understand that, and that's perfectly fine. This is just a sort of different side of the Transformers TCG going forward in a different direction than their direction. And I respect that, and as long as they respect me, what I'm attempting to do, that's fine. This is just for fun. So with that, I better get back to work. My lunch is over. We'll see you next time. And as always, don't have a great day. Have a blessed day. Autobots, flip out and let's roll.